If you are looking at a brand new terracotta flower pot on your patio right now, and assuming it can only ever hold geraniums and store-bought marigolds, you are about to find out just how wrong that assumption is. There is one tropical, boutique, chef-obsessed fruit that is so rare in grocery stores, so insanely valuable on the culinary market, and so perfectly genetically suited to life in a container, that growers from California to Florida to a fourth-floor walk-up in Brooklyn are quietly cultivating it in nothing more than a decorative patio pot. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we are cracking open what I am calling the secret millionaire fruit. This is the Australian finger lime, also known as Citrus australasica, and it has been hiding in plain sight for years as one of the most overvalued, undercultivated edible plants on Earth. For years, the mainstream gardening world treated finger limes like some unattainable jungle curiosity, a tropical tree that supposedly required a heated greenhouse, a commercial orchard, years of patience, and a full acre of land. That entire narrative is wrong. The finger lime is biologically programmed to thrive in tight quarters. It is naturally compact, it loves well-drained container soil, it sets fruit on juvenile plants far earlier than almost any other citrus variety, and it produces a harvest so visually stunning and so expensive at market that one single mature potted tree can outproduce, in pure dollar value, an entire backyard row of ordinary backyard vegetables. In this video, we are going to break down exactly why this bizarre little fruit earns the millionaire nickname. We are going to walk through the container mechanics step by step. We are going to talk about the real-world culinary payoffs, and we are going to expose the wealth hiding inside that empty flower pot on your back porch. Let's dive in and find out exactly why every patio grower should know about Citrus australasica, the fruit that looks like no other fruit on Earth. Before we get into the dollar signs and the container mechanics, you need to understand why this fruit commands such an absurd premium in the first place. Pull up a picture of an Australian finger lime right now and look closely. It does not look like any citrus you have ever held in your hand. The exterior is a thin, slightly bumpy skin in colors that range from forest green to deep crimson to almost black, depending on the cultivar. The shape is long, slender, and finger-like, hence the name, typically reaching 3 to 8 centimeters in length and roughly 1 centimeter in diameter. On the outside, it already looks unusual. On the inside, it looks like something out of a science fiction movie. When you slice a finger lime open, instead of the segmented, juicy pulp you expect from an orange, the interior is packed with tiny, round, translucent pearls that look almost exactly like fish roe, or, as high-end chefs prefer to call them, citrus caviar. When you bite into those pearls, they burst in your mouth, releasing a sharp, intensely lime-flavored juice that is brighter, more complex, and more aromatic than any regular lime you have ever squeezed. That texture, that pop, that visual drama on the plate is exactly what propelled finger limes onto the menus of Michelin-starred restaurants around the world. Top sushi chefs use them as a garnish in place of traditional fish roe. High-end pastry chefs spoon them over desserts. Craft cocktail bars float them in gin and tonics and martinis. Molecular gastronomy kitchens use them as a flavor bomb that requires zero cooking. The real market value. Now here is the part that earns this plant the word millionaire in its nickname. Standard retail pricing for finger limes in the United States and in Australia has hovered between $30 and $50 per pound for several years now, with multiple university and industry analyses confirming that range. A 2018 University of Florida publication tracked finger lime market values in that exact window. A more recent 2024 peer-reviewed analysis from Florida citrus researchers noted that farm gate prices for whole fruit often run around $12 per pound when sold wholesale, while specialty retail prices climb significantly higher. A 2025 market analysis from the IA examined direct-to-consumer pricing for premium finger lime varieties and found prices ranging from $121 to $485 per kilogram, depending on the color, the cultivar, and the fruit size. Red finger limes, which are rarer than the green varieties, sit at the very top of that range. What that means in plain English for the backyard grower is this. A single mature finger lime tree in a 15 to 20 gallon pot can produce dozens, in some cases over 100, fruits per year once it reaches full production. A 6-year-old mature tree documented by researchers at the University of Florida produced between 80 and 100 fruits in a single season. Even at a conservative valuation of $1 to $2 per individual fruit in retail terms, a small collection of potted finger limes on a patio can generate a serious, marketable, gourmet-grade harvest that genuinely outvalues what most people would pull out of a backyard row of zucchini or tomatoes of the same square footage. Now, I am not going to sit here and tell you that one potted tree is going to replace your salary, because that is not how horticulture works. But I am going to tell you that the gap between the absurd grocery store price and the actual cost of growing this fruit at home is so wide that finger limes have become one of the most talked about high-value niche crops among serious small-space growers, and for very good reason. Why containers are actually the ideal environment. This is the part that most mainstream guides get completely wrong. They list finger lime as a tender subtropical tree that demands special conditions. And yes, finger lime is native to the rainforests of eastern Australia, and yes, it prefers USDA zones 8 through 11 outdoors. But here is what those guides leave out. Finger lime trees are naturally compact. A mature specimen typically reaches only 6 to 8 feet tall in the ground, and significantly shorter when confined to a container. They have a dense, shrubby growth habit rather than the towering vertical canopy of a standard lemon or orange tree. That makes them biologically ideal for pot culture. But the real superpower is this. Because finger lime evolved as an understory plant in Australian lowland rainforests, it is genetically adapted to filtered light, partial shade, and the kind of root zone temperatures you get inside a container sitting on a patio, not the brutal, full-sun, scorched root zone of an in-ground tree in a commercial orchard. Container culture gives you a level of environmental control that a backyard orchard can never match. You can move the pot to chase or escape the sun. You can bring it indoors during frost. You can swap soil profiles instantly if drainage fails. You can protect the root zone from temperature swings that would kill a young in-ground tree in a hard freeze. Let's walk through exactly how to set up a finger lime in a flower pot on your patio. First, the pot. You want a container with a minimum 5-gallon capacity for a young starter tree. Most experienced growers recommend stepping the tree up gradually, starting in a 1-gallon nursery pot for the first year and transplanting into a 10 to 15-gallon pot by year 3. A 20-inch decorative patio pot is excellent for a mature, fully producing tree. Drainage is mandatory. Finger limes absolutely despise sitting in soggy roots, so multiple drainage holes at the base of the pot are non-negotiable. Second, the soil. A loose, well-drained, slightly acidic potting mix is perfect. Many growers blend a standard citrus mix with a generous helping of perlite or pine bark to maximize aeration around the root zone. Aim for a soil pH of roughly 6.0 to 7.0. Third, light. Finger limes want bright light, but the filtered, indirect kind they evolved under in the wild. A patio spot that gets morning sun and afternoon shade is ideal. A full south-facing balcony works fine too, as long as the roots do not cook. In hot inland climates, a touch of afternoon shade is genuinely appreciated by the plant. Fourth, watering. Keep the soil consistently moist, but never waterlogged. Finger limes respond beautifully to deep watering, followed by a short dry-down cycle, rather than constant surface sprinkling. Fifth, feeding. Use a slow-release citrus fertilizer with micronutrients, especially magnesium and iron, applied every 2 to 3 months during the active growing season. Sixth, pollination. Finger limes are self-pollinating, which is huge for a backyard grower. You do not need a second tree, you do not need bees, and you absolutely do not need to hand-pollinate the flowers. A single tree will set fruit all on its own. Seventh, harvest timeline. A healthy finger lime tree can begin flowering and setting fruit within 1 to 2 years after planting, far faster than most standard citrus varieties, which often demand 4 to 7 years before they produce anything meaningful. Some grafted starter trees from reputable nurseries genuinely can push out their first small cluster of fruit in year 1. Winter strategy for cold climate growers. Here is the part where container culture pays off again. If you live anywhere colder than USDA Zone 8, finger limes will not survive a hard freeze outdoors in a pot. The simple fix is the same one container gardeners have used for years. When the nighttime forecast drops into the low 30s, move the pot up against a south-facing wall of your house. Drape a frost cloth over the canopy, and for extra protection, throw a string of old-fashioned incandescent Christmas lights around the pot to generate a few degrees of warmth. If you live somewhere genuinely freezing with extended sub-zero winters, wheel the pot into a bright garage, a sunroom, or a south-facing window indoors for the duration of the cold snap. The tree will lose some leaves, slow its growth, but it will survive until spring returns. Compare that to in-ground orchard production, where a single late spring frost can wipe out an entire commercial block of finger lime trees in one night. The patio grower has the portable advantage, every single time. Now we get to the part that makes the whole project feel like a magic trick. When your finger lime fruit ripens on the branch, it changes color dramatically from green to yellow-green, deep red, or almost chocolate purple, depending on the cultivar. At that point, you simply snip the fruit off with a small pair of scissors and bring it inside. Slice it open lengthwise with a sharp paring knife and squeeze gently from the base. The pearl-like pulp will slide out in one perfect, glistening cluster. Drop those pearls on top of a seared scallop, fold them into a crème brûlée just before serving, scatter them over a fresh oyster on the half shell, float them in a top-shelf gin martini, or simply spoon them over a piece of grilled white fish with a little olive oil and flaky salt. The flavor is a knockout. It is intensely lime-forward, but with a floral, almost bergamot-like aromatic edge that no standard lime can ever replicate. Every guest at your dinner table will ask what it is. Every chef friend will ask where you got it. And when you tell them you grew it in a flower pot on your back porch, the disbelief on their face is the entire point of this video. Do not let an empty flower pot on your patio fool you into thinking that the only thing you can grow there is a geranium. The Australian finger lime is one of the most extraordinary, container-friendly, high-value edible plants on Earth, and it is just sitting on the nursery shelf waiting for someone to recognize what it really is. Whether you want a single ornamental patio specimen, a small collection of premium cultivars, or eventually enough fruit to supply a chef friend, a local restaurant, or a weekend farmer's market booth, Citrus australasica delivers in a way almost nothing else in the edible plant world can match. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever seen a finger lime in person at a restaurant or a market? And if you grow one in a pot, are you planning to keep it strictly for home use? Or are you thinking about the small-scale sales angle? Let me know your game plan down in the comments below. If you learned something new today and want to keep uncovering the high-value, container-friendly crops that most backyard growers completely overlook, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. Until next time, grab an empty decorative pot, find a reputable finger lime nursery, and happy growing.